It's modern segregation. This is setting up a civil war. Burn the circus down, cause the world is full of clowns. They're all stupid and they're proud, painted smiles on their mouths. I don't hang with bozos, homie, I can't be around you. Anyone who knows me knows my feet don't fit in clown shoes.
What is going on, everybody? Back with another video. This video is going to be kind of a first time edition on my channel. What it is my first swing at virtual podcast. Like, I want to do a podcast, but this is where, like, obviously it's going to be a Zoom call. Now, who I'm doing the Zoom call with is, and I actually talked about this gentleman and his company a couple of videos back. And this guy actually did get me over $100,000 in personal funding. And the company I'm talking about is JDMCAPSOLUTIONS. And the man, the myth, the legend, Jake DeMichelle, the CEO and the founder of the company, is the guy I'm doing the interview with. This video is going to be full of nuggets. Yes, if you clicked on this video, you know the length of the video. It is a little bit timely, but I promise you there's nothing like this on YouTube right now. Grab a drink, grab some popcorn, and just take notes, man, because this video right here is something that you don't want to miss. If you're looking for personal credit, if you're looking to fix your credit, if you're looking for personal funding, if you're looking for business funding, this is the video for you. This is the video you want to watch. You do not want to miss out. The link to Jake's Instagram, Jake's FAQ, his website, everything will be in the links in the description down below. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments down below. I'm going to let the video roll. I'm Ron. I'll see you when the video ends. Let's roll it. How we met was I was in Afghanistan dealing with the last credit company I was dealing with. They went out of business, which kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. Scrolling through Instagram and came across this guy in one of his ads. So I ended up reaching out to him on what he does for credit, how he does credit, just trying to get a feel for him, because we'll get into it later on in the video that a lot of people that preach about fixing credit can't always be trusted. It's kind of like a shady market, especially with the whole pandemic that's going on. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are taking advantage of really, really good people that just really need help. Right. So they have kind of like they're taking advantage of people's FOMO when it comes to credit repair. And this is before all that. And I reached out to him, asked him a few questions. I was very skeptical about what this guy can do for me. And I was even more skeptical when he told me, he said, listen, he said, give me all the information and I promise you. And he looked at all of my experience. He said, because I wanted everything, all my inquiries removed. He said, give me everything and I will get every single thing off your experience removed. Give me a week. And I ended up paying, what was it, $100? It was like $1,100.
Yeah, but I didn't charge you until after the fact.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So
I don't, which disclaimer, I don't do that.
All right.
With the mass public.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. So that's another thing too. I was like, listen, and I was crazy that he even trusted me. And, I'm a man of my word. I'm not here to rip anybody off. I'm in Afghanistan, man. And I was like, hey, if you could remove some things and then I'll pay you. And he says, okay, fucking bet. And it was 4 hours. And I'll post a video right here.
Good morning, everybody. How the hell are you? So I shed some light on the service, one of the services that I'm using. My buddy Jake over at JDM Capital Solutions. If you guys are looking to get your credit built or credit repaired or inquiries removed, this man guarantees results, and I can highly attest to that. This man deleted 44 things off my credit report in a matter of 4 fucking hours. I'm gonna post a picture after this. I'm gonna tag him in this video. So if you guys are serious about getting your credit fixed, inquiries removed, or anything like that, just DM him, let him know I sent you, and yeah, get the ball rolling. Promise you guys will not fucking be disappointed.
44 plus things deleted. This man is a fucking wizard. And it was 4 hours, and that man deleted 44 plus things, 44 hard pulls off my credit report in 4 hours. And that's how this relationship started. And here we are, a year and a half, almost 2 years later. Yeah. Doing business together. So going to history about you, background on you and your company.
Yeah, real quick before I get into that, it's a good business lesson for people that are like trying to start off or get more exposure or network with the right people. Is if someone is in a power, I would say in a position to help you grow as a business, someone like yourself who has a big following. If it's not, obviously there's a threshold to it, but you can always offer your services as proof of concept to that person and say, hey, I'll do this for you, with the expectation that you'll either pay me and give me exposure for doing it. So
Right.
a little business lesson there for some people. Obviously you've brought me a ton of business since then.
Yeah.
So, much appreciation to you and thanks for that. And just grateful for the relationship. Yeah. So JDM, Capital Solutions. So officially started in June of 19. So we're almost coming up on 2-year anniversary here.
Nice.
And it's been a wild ride. A lot of ups and downs. I came out to Vegas in 2016 with my dad. Broke, nowhere to live, no job, no plan, nothing, and just did what I did to make it work. And actually, it's ironic. One of the reasons why I was able to kind of make it, I guess you could say, was, and this is before I even got into credit or anything, was while I was this is no lie, it's a true story. So the first night I was in a hotel driving out to Vegas. We drove from New York, me and my dad, separate cars full of shit, all our stuff, everything we owned. And again, like I said, like we maybe had $5,000 to our name. I had no credit, nothing. I didn't even, know about credit that much then. I had applied for a credit card with my local bank. Like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month previously. I had completely forgot about it. Right. I was actually planning on opening up a gym where I lived, and I was trying to get startup funding for the gym, but I had literally forgot about this credit card application. And then the bank called me when the first night we left for Vegas. We were in the hotel. The bank called me and they said, yeah, you're approved for your credit card. And the biggest credit card I had at that time was like $500. Yeah. So I checked there. I was like, what's the limit? So I checked my phone and it was $7,500 limit. And I was like, what the fuck? I thought literally, I'm not like a religious person per se, but I was like, this is like crazy. Like I have no money. I have $7,500 now that I can use. So, right. That's kind of just a little foreshadowing, but anyway, fast forward, moved to Vegas, met a mentor, helped me a lot. We're really like the mindset of being an entrepreneur, and obviously taught me how credit works and things like that. And then we originally got into, when I first wanted to build JDM, I had like this grandiose plan for JDM. I wanted it to be a one-stop shop to get everything from like credit help to business credit advisory, every single lending avenue, institution possible, all under one roof. So I had like this crazy ambitious goal and expectation for the company. And then obviously you realize how that is somewhat realistic and too much to take on, kind of. So we kind of dumbed it down. It ended up dumbing itself down a little bit. I say you follow the money, but the money also follows you. So you have to go where you're making money in your business, right? So if you have, that's part of being a good entrepreneur. So basically the first 6 months of my business was June I started, and then the first 6 months was really building the infrastructure, getting everything set up, and then started making decent money in January. Started making 10-15 grand a month. Some months a little bit less, but it started picking up, and I was doing my original 0% accelerator, coaching clients, helping them get prepped for funding. I actually funded my first few clients in November, December of 2019. And then as soon as I started making money and things were going well, the pandemic hits. And, I'm like scared, obviously, but also grateful that I have this source of income. And prior to this, man, I'm driving Uber, making $10-15 an hour, busting my ass to make, $3-4 grand a month. So tough times, I was still living with my dad too. And, it's just tough. My dad doesn't have any retirement or anything like that. So it's not like I was like spoon fed, whatever.
Right.
So anyway, prior to that, I ended up getting my dad a little bit of funding also. So we had, he had some credit cards. I had practice on him. And again, this is all trial and error stuff. My mentor never taught me any of how to do funding or anything like that. This is all trial and error and research. So pandemic hits. And I was able to start my business because my dad actually gave me a $5,000 credit card at 0% for 18 months, which I literally just paid off like 3 months ago. Nice. So it's still funny. But it just shows you you can start with just as little as $5 grand, you can get stuff off the ground. So pandemic hits, I'm making money. And then I'm like, shit, accelerator is going to be tough. The lending shut down, couldn't get people credit cards anymore, right? Everything just kind of just crashed.
Right.
So I had to make a decision on whether of like which direction we were going to go. And I never really wanted to be a credit repair company, because credit repair is always something that I felt like was a very exclusive service and very hard to, I wouldn't say hard to deliver on, but it's hard. It's a difficult thing. And
a lot of moving parts.
Yes. And it's very complex building the systems to do it at scale.
Yeah.
A big thing that people don't understand is like doing credit repair for 10 people or 20 people is a lot different than doing it for 200 or 500 people.
Yeah.
So the systems that may work at like a small scale, right, will not work at a big scale. And that could be because of resources, like it's too tedious, you need too many humans, and then it's not cost effective at scale.
Right.
Or the methods actually just might stop working at scale. So that's something that people should really understand, is that there might be a method that will fix 8 out of every 10 people 90% effectively, right? But then that method at scale would only work 30% of the time, 90% effectively.
Yeah.
Where a different method might only work for 5 out of 10 people, but will keep that same consistency up to like 500 people, right? So so different methods have different scalability limits. So we went all in on credit repair. We got like over 750 people in repair during the pandemic, and we weren't charging like a cheap price either. We're talking about, $1,500 to $2,000 credit repair, which I believe is what people should be paying for a service.
Right. And you also get what you pay for when it comes to services like that. So
yeah, I truly believe
the cheapest
that
route, especially credit repair, the cheapest route is not always the best route.
Well, yeah, I told you when we talked previously, I was like, the analogy I like to make is, they're like, well, this guy charges $100. I'm like, yeah, well, a public defender is free.
Yeah.
So, it's like, do you want to hire a public defender to protect you from going to prison or jail or getting in trouble with the law, or would you want to hire a real attorney? Right. So like that analogy works for lots of different industries, and it's true to mine too. It's true to mine too. Like, you really, most of the time you get what you pay for, or you hope that you do. I can tell you, if you're trying to nickel and dime yourself through credit repair, you're not going to end up in a good spot. So another thing that I can kind of segue into is avoiding, and again, this is not legal advice or financial advice, but is avoiding debt settlement companies, because credit repair, depending on the method they use, can potentially take care of some debt legally owed. Yeah. Or companies will decide just not sue you for whatever reason. We tell clients all the time, hey, you may get, you owe Chase or someone else 15 grand, you might get sued, but also you might not. And we don't really know why the case is that sometimes people do get sued and sometimes they don't. Just like we don't know why sometimes Chase accounts come off people's credit reports in 2 to 3 rounds and others never come off, literally, or take a year, right?
Right.
So that's an interesting topic that we could also, talk a little bit more about that later on. But yeah, man, so we just went hard on the credit repair, and then when the lending opened back up, we went full on. We went back to the original plan, which is the accelerator. I don't particularly enjoy credit repair. Enjoy it in the sense of like, it's the most unguaranteed service that I offer, right? Like if you come to me with clean credit, like I can guarantee you, I will put you in a better position to get funding for your business, get you funding for your business.
We'll definitely get into that. Yeah.
Coach you, all that stuff. So credit repair is very difficult, but the biggest thing at JDM is just that we don't overpromise. And, by having the model of under promising and over delivering, we're able to give clients the right expectations, and then we have less problems down the road.
And that's another thing I kind of want to preface, is another thing that really, really made me trust Jake is Jake won't tell you what you want to hear. Jake will tell you what you need to hear. Right. And that's another thing that I really liked about him is a lot of these people, if you see all over YouTube, is they like to overpromise and then underdeliver. They say, if you call me, I can get you a 750 credit score, blah, 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 not knowing anything about that person's history, credit history, any kind of utilization. They don't know nothing, but they say that I can get you 750. This guy right here He says, let me see your file. Give me your information. Let me see your file and let me see what I can do, which
Right.
isn't the answer that people want to hear, but it's the answer they need to hear because you need to have more realistic, goals in mind opposed to this guy over here says he can give me 750 credit score if I just give him a call, which isn't realistic at all because there's so many different variables when it comes to certain people's criterias, which is what I'm going to jump into now. So for everybody really watching this video, what are the criteria that somebody need to meet before they get a hold of you and contact you or your company? And do you guys do like a free consultation?
Yeah. So we actually, it's funny you say that, but we, like what you just said, but we actually stopped looking at people's reports. And the reason was because one, at scale, it's not really time effective. And two, it goes back to under promising and over delivering. It doesn't change really the expectations that I'm going to give you. So even if you have 1 or 2 collections or you have 20 charge-offs, I'm going to tell you, hey man, I mean, I'll definitely tell the person that has more stuff, a more severe file, hey, you're looking at 6 months minimum, right?
Yeah.
But someone who say has a few collections, I would just maybe say, hey, you're looking at 3 to 6 months minimum.
Right.
So again, it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing we ask clients to do is just watch the FAQ videos that we have for our program. So whether it's,
I'll link all those down below in the description.
Yeah. So whether it's credit repair, credit restoration, or it's accelerator, 0% accelerator.
Yeah.
I have a presentation. It's me talking, same voice, same person, explaining the process of the program, what to expect. And we just ask people to watch the video. It's actually funny because it's such a simple request, but you'd be surprised how many people are resistant to watching that video.
Well, because nowadays stuff has to be sexy, right? For people to get their engagement and to get their watch time is a lot of people. And truth be told, I'll just say it as a consumer, people don't want to watch a talking head, right? They want to watch somebody that's loud, someone that's energetic in your fucking face, and that is pretty much like more of a showman than a businessman. You know,
entertainer. Yeah, it's like why do you pay for these guys that talk on stages and stuff, like at these events and whatever. Like some of them are legit, but some of them are just good at public speaking.
A majority are just full.
Yeah, and motivational speakers and shit. Can I curse? No, I can't curse, right?
Yeah, you can. You definitely can. Let it ride.
People just lie, man. It's really easy. I'm an expert marketer. I'm very good at marketing. It's very easy to fake your lifestyle. I don't fake my lifestyle. I show, I rented this house, but I show you that I rent this house.
But you show how someone else could do it also. Like
I didn't rent it for the weekend, right? So, and you can rent supercars and rent an Airbnb and say all this shit's yours, right? So it's not hard, and you make a good ad. It's powerful, man. Social proof is powerful. People
definitely
that FOMO kicks in and you feel it and you're like, how is this guy doing that? And I'm not. And then you're like down the rabbit hole, like, man, this guy might be legit. It's just like people sell you the dream, and dude, it's just be careful. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, no, you're right. We'll jump into one. I guess I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 more questions. And then we'll get into your zero accelerator, and that's really what I want to jump into. But I want to get the basic questions out that when people watch this, I already know what they're going to ask. So pretty much like your average customer when it comes to credit repair, what's the guesstimation, I guess, duration time you could see things falling off your credit report once they hire your services?
I would say that close to 75 to 80% of people, and again, I'm being a little conservative, I think, just again from under promising, 75 to 80% of people will see results in the first 30 days. Results means inquiries removed or accounts removed, right? As far as full on repair, just too variable to give a solid answer. So we tell people on every call, I have one salesperson as of today. So as of June, besides for myself, obviously. But I don't do a ton of credit repair sales anymore. But I have one salesperson. He is amazing. His name's Corey. He's who you'll talk to if you book a call. And he'll tell you the same thing. We tell people it takes a minimum of 4 to 8 rounds to repair someone's credit on average. That's on average.
Rounds? What are durations for the people that don't know?
Yeah, good question. So rounds are basically the bureaus can legally possess your letters for 30 to 45 days. So every round, if I send out a dispute to TransUnion, a dispute to Equifax, a dispute to Experian, that's one round of disputes. Now that can take 30 to 45 days.
Right.
So if you roll that into calendar time, multiply that by 4 to 8 rounds, and that's the number of calendar days it could take to fix your credit. So 8 rounds is like 300 days. 4 rounds is like 150 days.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about 6 to 11 months, 6 to 10 months in some instances. We just we want people to understand, like, it's a process. Like, this is a process. Now, have I fixed credit in 30 days? Yes.
Yeah.
I have. Have I done it in 60? Yes. 90? Yes. I've done. And you probably will see a majority of your items come off before that full 4 to 8 round time frame.
Right.
But there's always 1, 2, 3 accounts. If you have a bad file, we call these really stubborn accounts, and it depends on which creditor they're with. Some accounts are really hard to get off than others. Okay. The fintech companies like Affirm, SoFi, the newer companies are much more difficult to get removed than, like, say, older companies. Credit unions usually tend to be a bit easier and a bit more forgiving than the bigger banks like BofA and Chase and Wells Fargo and Citibank. But again, it's very variable, but we want people to have the right expectations. So it's like, hey, just be prepared for the worst and hope for the best. I mean, that's, we're not charging you. We have no incentive. We're charging you a flat fee, whether you have 3 items or 30. Okay.
Right.
So we have no incentive to take our time. We're not this other company, we're not the other company that charges you monthly.
String you along, we can only $70, $80 here. Yeah,
we can only dispute 3 items per bureau.
Oh man, trust me, I've been down that. That was my first video.
You never, and by the way, for people listening, you never, ever want to pay somebody on a monthly subscription. Now, it's different if you have, say, it's $2,000 and you can pay $500 a month for 4 months. That's different, right? Because there's still a flat fee involved. You're never going to pay more than $2,000. That's different. You're just paying installments. But if someone says, hey, this is ongoing, it's $89 a month, just stay away, because they don't have it. One, they don't have anything else to sell you. I have something else to sell you. I have to sell you into my 0% accelerator program.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's what we're going to get into.
And get you funding, but they have nothing else to sell you. So guess what? When your credit's fixed, they don't make any more money. Mm-hmm. So why would you want your interest to be counter to their whole business model? Like, think about it logically. The entire business model, their business model is to not fix your credit, because the longer it takes, the more money they make.
Correct.
When you're trying to get your credit fixed as fast as possible, which is what we want to do, because guess what? We charge you a flat fee. So if I fix your credit in 30 days, I save myself more money, because now it means my team doesn't have to work on your file anymore. And you don't have to mail anything or dispute anything, right?
Right.
So it's crazy that people don't think like that. But
which, talking about funding also. So we'll do hypothetical. Actually, I'm going to use me as an example. Pull everything up. So I did a video on you, and I didn't use you in the thumbnail or in the description or anything like. I put you in the description. I didn't use you in the title, just because I wanted just to have a test. Now, I'm one of the exceptions of credit repair. Like I said, he deleted 44 plus things off my Experian in a matter of hours. Now, whether it be more of an easy account or whatever, that's purely up to the credit bureaus. But when we're talking about funding, I'll just use me as an example, and then I'll let you give a brief description of what you think. So the question I was going to say was, after you clean up somebody's credit, what kind of funding can somebody look for? Because what I used to say in my videos, and what I still tell people now that reach out to me, still people do reach out to me on my Instagram, and I'll put it like right here, is just because you have clean credit, you now need to pack some kind of history. Just because you have a clean file doesn't mean you're going to get, you can have 800 credit score. It doesn't mean you're going to get approved for a car or a credit card. Because if you have no history, if you have no weight to that file, if you have a quote unquote, what do you guys call it, a light file?
Yeah, a thin file.
Thin file, right. Yeah. You won't be able to get approved for anything. You need some kind of primaries. You need some, I don't know if they're still even doing AUs anymore. Some kind of files on your account to show that you're a credible borrower, that you're not somebody that's just going to take a loan and just run away. You're high risk.
Right.
So I
that's
don't know how long
really
it's gonna
that's
pick
really
up.
the core. Go ahead.
No, I don't know. This is how much is going to pick up on the camera, but I'm pulling on. See, I can pull.
Yeah, it works. It's
Okay.
working.
So this is my credit. What is it? Credit Karma bullshit. So that's the funding that I have to my name as of right now. After Jake and his team, helped me out with everything, and I have still a lot to go. Like I still have that repossession that I thought that was off,
Right.
that disappeared for a little bit.
Yep.
That popped back up. So, my credit file is not perfect by any means. Right. But after you clean up somebody's credit, now you have to pack their file. What do you recommend?
Well, that's part of kind of the accelerator, right? It's like once their credit is clean or close to being clean, we want them to get into the accelerator, because people that want funding, what do they want to do? They want to start their own business. They want to invest in an opportunity. Right. And we've probably had experience with most of the things that you want to do. And a lot of people, it's just a great place to start. Now, the reason is because we're going to help you establish relationships with financial lending institutions, banks, right? So we get people into banks, into good banks like Navy Federal, like Andrews Federal Credit Union, NIH Credit Union, National Institute of Health Federal Credit Union. So all these banks, establishing relationships with them. And the thing is that you can do this with credit unions. A lot of these banks, you can do this while you're in repair. So you can have shitty credit, right? And you have a 550 or a 600 score. Bank of America won't even approve you for a secured card because your credit's not good enough. Other places might not either. But these banking institutions that we help you establish relationships with, and this is you can go research this stuff. This stuff is free. But again, the biggest caveat to this is not opening up too many accounts. So that's the other biggest mistake that people make, is not only if you have a thin file, you can get denied for funding for credit cards, but if you go and open a lot of, I call kind of fake credit building products. Like the only one that I would say was worth doing was My Jewelers Club, because it was $5K and it posted to all three
Mine don't even
bureaus.
report anymore.
It's shut down now. Yeah. But that was the only one I would think that's worth using. But now people are like adding like Lead Bank and, I'm not trying to call out any specific bank, but just these little crappy lending products. These banks aren't going to lend you money in the future. So you don't want to open up a secured loan with Credit Strong or with Lead Bank or with one of these other fintech companies that doesn't have any credit card products or lending products to give to you in the future. Right. Why would you open up an account with them when you could open up an account with Navy Fed or with Andrews or with NIH or with DCU? So all these other credit unions, these banks that will actually lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe not, one bank lending you hundreds of thousands of dollars, but lending you thousands of dollars, and car loans and personal loans and mortgages, potentially, boat loans, RV loans. Why would you go with a bank that doesn't have the potential to do that? Because if you open like 4 to 5 accounts that are brand new, you're not going to be able to go get more funding for probably at least 6 to 12 months. Right. So a lot of people don't understand that, and they just think, I need to build my credit file. It's thin. Well, it's thin, but you have to build it in the right way. And that's what we do in the accelerator. We tell you exactly which accounts to open, what the limit should be, right? And that's very, very vital information to build those relationships properly while still keeping you under that new account threshold. Right. So you can get funding when you are eventually clean, or even if you are clean already. So once you're clean, the process, and you have a good file to get funding, the process is pretty much as simple as like signing the contract, the funding agreement, so we can collect your information. Right. And then we actually will go into your computer. We'll actually go into your computer using a remote access service. And the reason we do that is because you want to make sure that you are pulling from the appropriate IP address correlated to your home address that's on your credit report. Right. Otherwise, the banks are going to flag it. You don't want to use VPNs for funding. Big misconception. But anyway, we just do that, and then we run through the sequence, apply for some cards, and, You know, we get people on average somewhere between, I would say right now is between $75,000 and $200,000. So
That's in personal
funding in total, business and personal. Yep.
Right.
Business and personal. So it's a mix.
Right, we'll get
and then
into the business.
some people also,
We'll get into the business.
what's
here
that?
shortly. Say we'll get into business here shortly. So start with
yeah.
personal.
So
yeah.
personal. I mean, you want to actually do business funding first.
Okay.
Because those cards don't report to your personal credit. So it makes it kind of less of a time crunch. To you had the whole funding thing again. Let me backtrack a little bit. The reason why you would hire a company like myself, which you didn't do, which is completely fine, right?
Right. I'm learning
but
from it.
Right, exactly. But the reason why you would hire a funding company like mine is because I might be able to get you 10 to 20 credit cards where you might only be able to get 3 to 5 on your own. And the reason is because of inquiries and then also the knowledge of where which bureaus are pulling from. For instance,
that's what happened with me. So now for people out there, I mean, here's my wallet, but majority of are credit cards. I mean, I have my ID and the majority of them are credit cards, but I want to say I have about 5 credit cards to my name, a car loan and 1 personal loan. But what I went through was before I met you guys, and then once you actually took everything off my Experian, I started applying for certain cards. Now what happened was I built up quite a bit of inquiries. And now I'm at a standstill because, and we talked about this before, is now I have to either wait for them to fall off or I'm going to have you guys remove them. Because no matter what my credit report is, no matter how thick or dense my file is, if you have, X amount of inquiries, you're going to be red flagged from the lender anyways. Right. And that ties into the same thing with accounts. Now banks used to really focus on inquiries, but now they're looking at, they know that people banks are not stupid, by the way. Let me just preface that too. They like the people, I don't want to get in trouble for saying this. Some of the people that work at retail banks are not the sharpest tool in the shed, right? They're not going to be, they're not going to be doing nuclear fusion anytime soon. But the banks themselves, the underwriters, the guys that have been working there for 10, 15, 20 years, these guys are not dumb. And banks know that people can remove inquiries through these various methods, using credit repair and whatever. So banks actually now, they look at inquiries, but they also will look at, like I said before, they'll look at how many new accounts you have. So even if you don't have a correlating inquiry to an open account, they're going to count basically that. They're going to look at that account and count that as an inquiry in a sense, because they're going to say, well, there's no inquiry, but your account's here, so it's a new account, right? And what is an inquiry really telling somebody? How many times they've applied for credit, and then obviously if they've been approved or not, it'll show up as an account. On the personal side. On the business side, obviously they don't report. Not all business credit cards report the personal. But yeah, man, I mean, you want to do. In your case, you really only funded yourself on one bureau, which is possible. But again, there's a lot of like caveats and a lot of nuance to funding. Right. And the point is just simply, hey, if I can not just give you the funding for a percentage and I'm going to make a bunch of money, I can actually give you the groundwork to then go use that money properly and give you, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with it. It's your money. But if you're saying, hey, now I have this funding, based on my goals, where is this money best allocated? And then I'm going to give you my recommendations for how to leverage that capital, because it's all about using credit, leveraging debt the right way, instilling those principles, that financial literacy. That's how the richest people in the world get richer. If someone gave you $5 million, but you had no financial literacy, you lose it all, right? So that's mainly what I also want to stress to the people that are going to watch this video is that's where I went wrong. So when I ended up getting funding and these credit cards, I didn't use all my utilization. My utilization maybe at like 10%. But I didn't have the know-how on where to leverage the funding that I had. Right. So I just thought if I have a lot of credit to my name that I could do whatever I want. And I completely forgot that I could leverage my credit and actually make a passive income off of it. Or an active income. Right. It doesn't have to be passive. I actually prefer people that come into my program, unless you love working your 9 to 5 or it's your career or you make a ton of money. Yeah. I really recommend people like starting an active income stream, something that even if it only takes a few hours a day,
because when it's active, you're in control,
Yeah.
right? Like passive stuff is great because it's passive, but sometimes people that also, this is another thing. Sometimes people that will advertise things as passive are not really passive.
Right.
And then other times it's also just, you're just not in control. So it could be passive, but it could take you 12 months to make your ROI back.
Yeah.
So if your cards are at 0% interest for 12 months, but it takes you 12 months to make your ROI back, then, and you need your funding to make money, like hint, hint, cough, cough, e-commerce, which I love e-commerce. I like e-commerce. I wouldn't say I love it. I like e-commerce as an avenue for people, for some people, but I'm very realistic about, hey, because guess what? My partner, I funded him 200 grand and he's now 6 months. He did in November, not passive at all. Trust me. Like he had to do a lot of work. He's a very intelligent person and he had to figure out a bunch of different stuff where if someone was of less intelligence or of less means, they might not be able to figure this stuff out. Right. And he still hasn't gotten, like, he's still not, I mean, he's making money now, but he still hasn't gotten close to his ROI back in 6 months. So it's just an important thing to be aware of. And the active income stream is just so important because you can start doing it right away. And I always tell people, man, default to sales and marketing. And they're like, well, I don't have sales experience. Well, go learn, like, you know what I mean? And you can learn for free. I mean, you can freaking find someone to work for that sells a product or a service, or you can sell credit. If you can send me referrals, I'll give you a little bit of, credit repair sales training. But the point is like, in the marketing, going back to the marketing, I really tell people, hey, if you don't know what to do with money, and this is the one question I ask every single accelerator client. I say, hey, if I got you 100 grand or 200 grand tomorrow, do you know what you would do with the money? And if they can't answer that question, that's the question that they need to figure out. Because once you figure out the answer to that question, that's going to be where we build the plan that I create for you in the accelerator program around. That's going to be the foundation of how I build the program, of your specific plan, to get to your goals. But if you don't know, if you're like, that's a good question, I don't know what I would do with the money, then you have to think about it, right? You have to really think it long and hard. And again, if you don't have an active income stream, or you work a 9 to 5 and you make 4 or 5 grand a month, which again, for depending on where you live, is not bad money by any means, but it's also not enough really to, I feel uncomfortable. All my recommendations are based off of people's current financial situation, right? So someone who makes 20, 30,000 bucks a month, if they get into e-commerce and they have to lay out 75, 80 grand, it's not as bad or pressureful for them if something goes wrong or something doesn't go according to the timeline that they were sold on, right? Whatever. But if somebody makes 5 grand a month and they have no money in savings, and I get them 100 grand in funding, and then they go and they buy an e-commerce store, which again, I wouldn't recommend to somebody that's in that income bracket. Like, I don't recommend e-com to people that are in that income bracket for that reason. You just dumped all your capital that you have into a e-commerce store that might not make you $1 of profit based on your investment within a year. Right. It's a scary position to be in. And I don't like over leveraging. You don't want to over leverage yourself if you don't have a really, really good return that's controllable by your actions. And e-commerce is not. If you're paying for passive e-com, it's not controllable, right? Okay. Yeah, so that's an important thing to note to the people watching, and I hope that makes sense to them.
Yeah. All right, let's jump in. You talked about it a lot in this video so far, and it's about your 0% accelerator.
Yeah.
So let's go. So, what is that for everyone that's been hearing it?
Right. So the 0% accelerator is kind of the premier program that we offer. That I said, hey, give me 6 months, pay me, at the time, I think I was charging 3 to 5K, pay me 3 to 5K. I'll fix your credit. I'll get you in a position where you need to be, and we'll get you some credit cards, some business credit cards and some personal credit cards. And I'm going to charge you 10% of what I get you, but you can pay me with the credit cards. And guess what? Your monthly payments, you go from a daily payment to a monthly payment. is 1%, one to sometimes I guess it's 2% depending on the company, but usually 1% of whatever you use, your monthly payment. So if you use $100,000 at 0% interest, right? Your monthly payment, minimum payment is 1% of that. So you're paying $1,000 a month for $100,000 at 0% interest for 9 to 12 months.
Right.
And then even people don't even realize too, even if say the $100,000 wasn't 0%, say it was 15%, it's not a lot. That even if you lent that money for an entire year, you're not paying an insane amount of interest. It's not crazy. It's not as crazy as you think. So like, think about it. If the predatory loan was 100K, it was really 95K. You got to pay back 140, right? And it's deducted daily out of your bank account versus 100K at 15% annually. So you have to pay them 15K. If you had 100K in credit cards at 15%, right? Annually, you're going to pay roughly 15 to 20K in interest over the course of an entire year, right? Versus 6 months, and your monthly minimum payments are still going to be way less. Like your monthly minimum payment might be less than your daily withdrawal from the merchant cash advance. So that's how the accelerator started. Now let's fast forward to the new accelerator. We don't target those clients anymore, particularly because they are stuck in their ways and they're very stubborn. So I don't like working with them really, right. unless they agree to do a merchant cash advance debt consolidation. So when the pandemic started, we actually partnered with a company called Bardwell Creative. They're a great company. They do merchant cash advance debt consolidation. So I did send some clients to them, and I ended up getting these clients in the accelerator, and it worked out very well. But typically we're looking for established business owners, entrepreneurs, investors that are making between 5 to 20,000 a month. And some people we have in our program make 50 to 100 plus, but that's kind of the sweet spot. And we help them do the things that we've been talking about in this video. Get their personal credit in a position where it can be leveraged, remove negative items if they have them, or inaccurate stuff from their credit report, build their file in the proper way to get them funding if they do have good credit but don't have enough history, or if they have poor credit and they need to fix their credit and build their file at the same time. And again, we teach them how to do that simultaneously, so you're not wasting like time. People think that you have to wait to fix your credit to build it. You don't if you do it the right way. The old school method was to add authorized users and all that stuff, right? That's the wrong way to do it. Yes, you shouldn't add authorized users if at all, but if you do add them, you should add them right before you get funding. And it can help with like your age and if your utilization is a little bit high, it can help kind of knock that down, get your score a bit higher, but they're not really useful anymore. And I wouldn't recommend people to pay for them. If they're free, it's whatever. But if you're going to pay for them, there's better ways. There's better places to spend your money.
Yeah, trade lines are very expensive.
Yeah, they are. And then we really just help them establish. So then we establish their entity. If they don't have an entity, and we build business credit underneath that entity. So, and business credit is a double-edged sword. In the case of when I say build business credit, we establish their Paydex score, which runs through Dun & Bradstreet, and their business Experian and their business Equifax. And that can help them get more funding when we do go to apply for business credit cards. Some banks do care about business credit. It makes you look more credible on paper.
They want a personal guarantor.
Well, this is the thing. People get confused also. Non-PG does not really exist anymore.
Oh, really?
And people get this very confused. People say, oh, I would build business credit and get no PG funding. Do you do no PG funding? Listen, this is the most annoying question I get. No, there is no such thing really as no PG funding in the form of credit cards that you can use for any
PG personal guarantor for people that don't know.
Yes, personal guarantor means that you personally are guaranteeing it with your credit report. You as a person are guaranteeing it.
Especially if you're a new business looking for new funding.
Right. And even established businesses, you can't really get no PG funding. You're PGing 90% of your funding unless you're like some massive entity.
Right.
Like Apple doesn't need to, I mean, if you're public, you're not PGing. I mean, if you're public, you're using investor money anyway. But but you don't need to. Even companies that are doing millions of dollars a month in revenue, they if they're looking for cash, like cash lines of credit. Now, cars and equipment and that stuff is different, right? You can get no PG equipment funding and no PG car because it's collateralized, right? It's not unsecured because there's a piece of collateral there protecting it to some degree.
Right.
But to get unsecured, no PG funding, the way that people think about it, it's not going to happen. So yeah, I can get you some gas cards and maybe I get you a Sam's Club credit card that's no PG and I don't know, another department store and some, vendor lines of credit from places that are overcharged for stuff. Yeah, I can maybe get you 15 or 20 grand from them. Or Synchrony might have some no PG business products or, some equipment, but when people talk about no PG funding, they're talking about credit cards. That's what they want. They want credit cards.
Not store
cards.
It's
not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. No, like you're not getting a Chase credit card, no PG. It's just, you're not. So the banks they really care about your personal credit. Now, does that mean business credit's not important? No, it does not mean that, because depending on the industry you're in, if you're into like renting cars, there's a lot of our clients or doing Airbnb, or you need equipment, or you're in construction. A lot of our clients are construction people, because again, the people that come to our programs, they're usually in like generally restricted industries, or semi-restricted industries for lending, like traditional lending. Not that the bank's going to lend them a bunch of money anyway, but they need to use credit cards to fund themselves. It's as simple as that. Most of their funding is going to be credit cards or lines of credit, and they need to have good personal credit. There's just really no, if you're doing millions of dollars a month and you're profitable and you've been in business for 5 years, if you walk into Chase and say, "Hey, sir, these are my financials. Look at my financials. I need a no PG line of credit, or I just need a line of credit." They're going to say, "Okay, what's your personal credit look like?" And if it's bad, they're going to say, "Sir, sorry, can't help you."
Right. And to make it pretty much
all the time,
simple as I can make it. And same thing with you is to write it in crayon for everybody is, if you were going to go into a business, like you talk about just Chase, and they ask for your personal credit, they want to make sure that you as an entity, how you handle your personal credit. If you can't handle yourself as personal credit, why would they give you business credit? You know what I'm saying? So that's a really big misconception. You talk about no PG loans. You can get store cards all day, but store cards are only dealt with at that store, in that one place. That's it. Like
or gas cards,
Office Max, gas cards, things like that, where you're tethered to that one business. When you're talking about credit cards, you want to get funding. They want to make sure that you're taking care of your personal credit before they give you business credit. Now, which is going to come into my next question would be, what is the most ideal, in your professional opinion, what is the most ideal, we'll do the 3-digit number first, the most ideal credit score personally, that will be easily reflected to get business funding, in your personal opinion?
I need 750 to 7. Well, I would say at a minimum 740, but 750 plus,
right,
with decent history. It's funny too. The banks really like the banks these days. I talked about the account thing earlier.
Right.
They actually like files that are somewhat thinner, actually.
Right. They don't want you to have too much lines of credit.
If you already have 100K, right? And then you go and try to get another 100K, you're higher risk. Yep. Even though you already had that 100K and you've handled that well, the banks will still look at you as higher risk, because now you have 200K of credit, and now your DTI, your debt, your income, not your DTI, but your income, well, part of your DTI, but your income your income is now coming into play. Yeah. When they think about, hey, if this person maxed out, the worst case scenario, if this person maxed out their credit cards, does their income support them being able to pay it back?
Correct.
Now, if you make 80 grand a month or 80 grand a year, and you have 100K in credit lines, that's a very good ratio between your income and the amount of credit that you have. But 200. Now if you have 200, they might be a little hesitant, because they're going to say, man, this guy only makes 80 grand a month. He's got expenses. So at the end of the day, he might only have 40 to 50K. If something goes wrong or he makes a bad decision, he has no way to repay this money. Now, if I say that Jake makes 500 grand a month or 500 grand a year, right? They might be less scared to give me
Absolutely.
$200K in credit. So
Absolutely.
income has something to do with it, and provable income also
Has
can
to
have.
be, yeah.
Well, some places don't. Some places don't require you to prove income, and some
Or they
places
ask you to
do.
go ballpark. You have the ball. What
Well,
do you think? What do you think you make?
projected household income,
Yeah.
which again you can always, you can embellish a little
But
bit.
if you over embellish, they might ask for proof. That's another thing.
Down the road, they might ask for
Yeah.
proof.
Correct.
Right, absolutely, they might ask for proof. The best bet is to just put your actual income or a realistic projection of what you think you can make, because and I'm talking about personal income. Business income is kind of like completely projected because
It's all projected.
yeah, I mean, it's not I wouldn't say all.
Well,
but
you're estimating. You're like your net growth.
You don't know what's going to happen
that year.
Yeah.
Correct.
So they don't say put your business income from that was from the year previous. They just say put your current business income for this year. Well, the year's not over yet. I don't know what it's going to be, right? So that is really projected. But personal, you really want to put what you actually make, as long as you should put close to what you make. It's my, and as someone who maybe assists in funding, we legally have to put that on the application. We can't put more money, or we have to put what you put in the contract.
Yeah.
So, that's important. And some places make you prove income through pay stubs or W-2s, or tax returns. Like, I just got financially reviewed by Amex. I spent like $700,000 in my Amex in the last year and a half, and they finally financially reviewed me. And again, this is a financial review. That's on the business side, but they financially review you on the personal side.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that you didn't lie about your income when you first got their cards on the personal side. So again, personal credit is just the holy grail. You got to have strong personal credit. Even if you have really built out business credit, yes, you can get no PG. You could get like a Freightliner, a truck, a car, some equipment maybe. And that's great. That's not personally guaranteed, right? But you're not going to get cash or credit cards, which I basically call cash. You're not going to get that stuff, the cards, the type of funding that you want. You're not going to get it without having strong personal credit. I don't care how good your business is, how much money you make. You're not getting massive no PG funding. This is not the year 2000. I've heard all the stories, back and the banks got burned, man. They got burned, and it matters. Now, that being said, there are some. I shouldn't say never. There are some newer fintech products that are coming out, and you'll see more of these fintech products start to come out where they don't pull your personal credit, or they soft pull your personal credit. But some of them may not pull your personal credit at all, but you will have to log in to your banking accounts through their software. And then based on your history and the balances that you have in your bank account, they might give you a non-PG line of credit based off that information. But that's very new, and that obviously requires you to actually have a functioning business that does revenue and keeps money in the bank account, which a lot of people that are starting out, they don't have that, right? So that's not startup funding, right? So you're not getting just put it this way, you're not getting no PG startup funding in the form of credit cards. The last thing of the accelerator is really just building the plan with the client and coaching them and just helping them. Sometimes it's me trying to inspire them to kind of step out of their comfort zone and go to the next step, go to the next level, take ownership of their life. I changed my financial position very quickly. I mean, I was driving Uber, moved to Vegas, my whole little short story that I told you earlier. And, I went from making not a lot of money to making a lot of money. Right. So, and it happened very quickly. I mean, we're talking about 2 years. So 2 years is not a lot of time in the macro sense of your life. It's right. Yeah. It's not that long. For some people, it's eternity, depending on their situation. But in the reality, it's not that long to build a business and build a very profitable business in a short amount of time. It's great. It's a great achievement for me. And we're just looking to kind of build on that, on the success, and then keep the momentum going. But like my roommate, even when I met him, my business partner, he's like my business partner in a different business that we have, but when he first worked for me, I was paying him $3,000 a month to run my social media. And now he runs a social media branding agency and marketing company, giveaway company, and he makes $30K a month. So it's like, and then he did that in a year. So, or even less actually, in a way, a year and a half, whatever. But it doesn't matter. The point is that if you put your head down and you have a vision and you have a good plan and you have a good offer, and you have some skills, you can really, really change your situation very quickly. And by the way, my business partner / housemate is 21 years old. He just turned 21 like 4 months ago. So we're not talking about like someone who has all this life experience. Like,
right.
I have a lot more wisdom and life experience than him, which obviously has to do with my success. But even people that are very young and are pretty honestly clueless, as far as life goes, can still make a significant amount of money in a short amount of time. They just have to have the right vision, the right purpose.
Mentor is very important.
It's absolutely vital, man. And that's really what I care about in the accelerator too. I tell people, hey, if you have a clean file and you have some good credit, I can get you funding. And I'll be honest, it's tedious, but it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not hard. If you follow directions and you listen to me and you're responsive when I ask you questions and we're getting the stuff set up, it's tedious. Yeah. And I have a lot of research there's a lot of time that I spent, but at this point in my life, it's not hard. That stuff's easy, almost easy in a way. It's annoying and it's tedious, but it's easy. It's like busy work to me, actually. Like literally funding to me at this point in my life is like kind of like busy work because I know how to do it. So it's not, again, I'm always looking for new avenues and looking for new banks, and I'm doing all the stuff that I need to do and I should be doing, but it's still, I have a team around me as well that helps me with that, but it's still not really hard. Yeah. The hard thing to do is to get a client that makes $5,000 a month, and then a year later they make 20.
So the Zero Accelerator, I had one question about it also. On your recommendation, I understand since you run the program, you're going to be kind of biased, but should somebody, when they come to you after they watch this video, they go down to the links below it before they like the video first, and then they go down to the description and then they click on your link. Should they go with credit building or the Zero Accelerator? What is more beneficial to somebody that needs help?
You mean credit restoration?
Yes.
Or the 0% Accelerator? So it all depends on what their long-term goals are. And it really depends on what their financial situation is. Obviously the accelerator right now is 10K. We do have like super flexible payment options. We let people start for as little as like $1,000.
Which is great, which is amazing, by the way. I just want to put that out there that you guys people focus too much on, and we talked about this, people focus too much on that 10K, and then come to find out that they missed the whole entire fact that you actually do small installments like payment plans. The bigger picture is, and we talked about this too, and I want to preface it before you even say it, is the 10K that you're paying for this entire service, whether it be completely upfront or in those installment payments, is you'll get way more value than the 10K that you paid for out of this entire program. Way more.
Absolutely. So I'll be honest, we're probably by the end of like Q3, so I'd say by like the end of fall, we're probably going to raise the price to at least 15K. Yeah. And then maybe we'll do like something a little cheaper if people want to pay in full. Because obviously, getting the full amount up front as a business is better for cash flow. But, the 10K, I honestly feel like at 10K, this program is an absolute steal. I don't think there's anything on the market. There's maybe a couple other people in the credit space that are doing something similar, but they're either priced higher than me or they're not giving you as much attention that I am. I mean, my whole business is literally my whole life is literally now it's really moving into it. We've had this huge transition over the last few months and scaling our accelerator, systems and fulfillment. My whole day is spent really monitoring my accelerator clients and their files, building their plans, responding to them personally on Telegram. If they have questions for me, taking new clients, doing onboarding calls. And then the second part of that, of my life, that's going to look like my life, for at least for the next however long, is doing content. is really
Right.
pushing out more content, because it's something that I've been so busy really just trying to deliver my products and my services that I stopped producing content. And I love producing content in the right setting. Like I love doing these types of interviews. I love talking to people about stuff that I'm passionate about, and I want to get back to it. So I hired a videographer. I'm going to be doing more videos, and that's really going to be my life, is accelerator, making sure that my systems and working on my business, not working in your business. And it's something that's very hard, especially when you have applied knowledge like I do. Everybody wants to work with me personally.
Yeah.
Right. And I do give you that in the accelerator. You do get your onboarding call with me. And then if you need to speak to me, I'll make time to speak to you, but you can't abuse it either. Right. You can't be like, hey, I need to talk to you for 2 or 3 hours a week. That's not, what I mean? So, but at the same time, we give people Telegram Messenger. People like, oh, why use Telegram? Well, it's free, one. And then two, it's super secure. You can send all your documents through there securely, and you get to be in a group with my entire team. I told you, my company is not very big when it comes to actually having a lot of manpower. Now we're scaling. Two, we have me, my GM, John, and Corey, my amazing salesperson, sales president. So, and we're currently going to hire some more full-time operations people here locally in the coming weeks, actually already doing interviews and whatever. But the point is just simply, that's what I do, man. We're all in on it. And the value, again, like I said right before you left, I want to reiterate that point. What's more powerful even than me getting you funding and helping you with your credit is that if you can take the knowledge that I give you and the resources that I give you and the educational stuff that I put out and all that stuff combined, and I can coach you to a point where you went from making $5,000 to $10,000 a month, and then you double your income, and so now you're making, $15,000 to $25,000 a month. That is in a year or 2 years, however long it takes. And the accelerator program is also like the network of everything. And this is what I'm talking about, is like, I believe that everybody in the group is going to be making more money after they're in their program for a year. And the network we're building is just going to be absolutely insane. We already have 100 plus members. And these are great people. Again, I don't accept anybody into the program that's not like 100% on the same page. I turn people down all the time. I can be very rude to people, which is a fault of mine, but I can be impatient with people that waste my time, and that don't see the value, or they say, oh, you're a scammer, or you charge $10,000 in fixed credit. And they haven't even watched the video. They don't even understand what the program does. And the point is that if you have a network of 300 entrepreneurs that all have skin in the game and they're all trying to move to the next level, like you're going to meet that's three, how how many people that is? That's 200-300 people, which I'm assuming is how much the accelerator is going to grow over the next year. Right. I think we'll have 200 members by the end of the year, the end of this calendar year. That's so many people that are on the same wavelength as you, the same energy, moving in the same direction. And you can use that as inspiration. And the group is a place to communicate and network with other people. And then for me to give my information that I believe is exclusive and proprietary to some degree to this network. And then obviously we're going to have events down the road. COVID just kind of stopped, things are opening back up. And we're going to have events and really kind of leverage this networking thing. We have a lot of real estate people. A lot of people are doing Turo or wanting to do Turo and exotic cars, and it's just an amazing group of people. And that's really where the power is going to be. I really believe that this group is going to be one of the biggest entrepreneurial groups that exist out there, in a sense of that all these people invest. We're not talking about you joining a Facebook group for $50, right? We're talking about everyone in the group has paid me at least 5 to 15, 20K even to get into this group, because if I got them 10K for accelerator and got them 200 grand in funding, then I might've made 20 grand off this person. Right. So, but they have skin in the game, and that's what we want. We want people who are serious. Now, there's nothing wrong with starting with credit restoration. If you can only afford credit restoration, or you want to see proof of concept first that the credit restoration works, and you're skeptical, then just hop into credit repair. It's completely fine. And the best thing about it, which again is something that's really cool, no matter what you pay for credit restoration. So whether we charge right now, we charge $2,000 on a flat fee, one-time payment, or $2,500 on a payment plan. That might even go up at some point. But guess what? Whatever you pay for repair gets credited towards your balance on the accelerator. So if you even if you paid me $3,000 for repair, if you wanted to eventually upgrade, would owe us whatever the price is for accelerator minus what you paid for repair. So right now it's $10,000. So you'd owe us, your balance would be $7,000. I'm trying to explain to people how flexible I am trying to be, because I want to help. I want to help people at every level, at every stage, right? I want to help people that make 4 or 5 grand a month to join this program. Guess what? I joined $15,000 programs when I had my first $15,000 month ever in business and doing in JDM. I joined a $15,000 program. It was $1,250 a month for 12 months. So I joined that program, and sorry, someone's calling me. I joined that program, and that program, really, really helped me excel and just helped me keep the momentum going and helped me. I didn't know shit about marketing or sales. I knew about sales, but I didn't know shit about marketing really in the modern world. And I learned how to build funnels. And I was like, if I'm going to take this business in the next level, I need to learn about marketing. And that's what I did. I took, it was actually a sales course per se, but it had a lot of sales and marketing are like one and the same almost, right? Yeah. A good ad is sell somebody, right? But it's called marketing. They're intertwined, and they're basically just, they overlap each other largely. So yeah, it's just an amazing program, and I'm super grateful to have my members that are in there now. And we're just looking to grow and expand, and looking for people, that are like-minded and just want to have skin in the game, and want to be with somebody that really cares about their clients, cares about providing value, educating people, coaching people. People don't know my background is in psychology. I used to be, I did outpatient community counseling in Vegas, worked with homeless people, drug addicts, suicidal people in their homes, in their habitats, in their settings. You could probably imagine the stuff that I've seen. And then I was going to school to be actually a marriage and family therapist, and my values changed differently. And then also my business took off, and I ended up dropping out after I was about halfway done. My business just exploded during the pandemic. It was just a no-brainer, right? To go a different route with my time. And yeah, I really care about this stuff, and it's not, we like to make work and the stuff that I do as fun as possible and kind of joke around. I'm a silly guy. People think I'm like this serious guy all the time, and I'm super silly. Like, ask anybody around me. I love to troll and like laugh and make fun of people and whatever. But this stuff is actually serious, but it's serious, but it's like, I want you to have the right mentality going into it. Like, this isn't like, you have to put in the work too. Like, what you put into the program is what you get out of any program. Yeah. So it's just an amazing opportunity, but either way. And then Corey on the call can help you decide which program is best for you. Right. Yeah. Like, if you're like kind of on the fence, like, hey, I can afford accelerator, but I don't really know if I need it. But in the end, it's like, if you want to get funding, the accelerator is the right program.
Absolutely. And the thing that I also want to stress to people that are watching this is, if you're kind of on the fence on what program you want to go with, obviously the accelerator is the way to go. Don't focus majority on that $10,000 payment, because if you paid this man right here 10 grand and he got you $100,000 to $200,000 in funding, and he charged you 10%, who's really technically winning here? You know what I'm saying? He helps you out. He gives you a peace of mind. He gets you $200,000 in funding. And also, if you're a family man like myself, you could take that money and invest it in things that are going to make you money, like you said, passively and actively.
Yep. So
therefore, don't do it for the short term. Do it for the long term, especially if you have kids. You're like, this is going to help you in the long run with your family. You know what I'm saying? They help you long run with your kids. So this is something that you want to stop. You honestly just want to cut the bullshit. You really want to look inside yourself and say, do I really want a short-term fix, or now and fix it in the future to have a better future for my family and for my kids and a better way of living? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, or people want to, sorry to cut you off, Ron, but people just,
no, you're fine.
a lot of people that use credit, and we know this, they use it for the wrong reasons.
Correct.
Right? They use it because they're like, shit, it's 2021 and I need the newest Corvette so I can show my friends and people that don't even give a fuck about me if I'm cool and that I'm killing it, and then my life is better than theirs. Right. And we talked about this on the last call.
Yeah.
Flexing with a purpose. Like for me, taking credit and buying nice things or renting a house or getting a nice car on my credit, that benefits me because I'm able to then share that content, but I'm doing it for a good reason, where I'm trying to inspire people and show them that you can live a great lifestyle using credit, but then also using it for the right reasons to invest back in your business. The other thing too is that there's no one, even maybe some of the other people that offer a similar type of program to this, nobody's letting you join this program for $1,000 down. Like no one's letting you pay me $1,000 a month for 10 months. Even if we go to 15 grand, that ends up being $1,250 a month for 12 months. Like no one else is letting you get into a program like this with not having a ton of skin in the game at the start. So we're taking a leap of faith by like letting you sign a year contract, you know what I mean? And really we're showing you, we're saying, hey, pay me a little bit of money per month and I'm going to get you to the finish line, hopefully. One thing I want to say too, man, is like with credit repair, it can take a long time. I have clients that have been with me for more than a year. I'll just be honest. And I just wanted to say that, because I want people to understand that if you come into the accelerator and your credit is super jacked, like really bad, you could be just in their credit repair portion for a year. So then you would say, well, then I would just join in restoration. Well, no, because during that time frame, I could build up your positive history, build your business credit, and then by the time your personal credit repair is fixed, you're going to be ready to go for funding because you built business credit compliantly and you built your personal credit file compliantly. Even though it's been a year, it took you a year, then you're still in the right position. Where if you just did credit restoration and you waited a year or even longer, and then you didn't do all the credit building things you needed to do, you didn't build any business credit, now you still might have to do that for 6 months after your restoration's fixed. So we upgrade people, all the time who are either 2 months in or 3 months in, or right at the beginning, they join from the accelerator from the get-go, or 8 months in even. But it's really important. The other thing is that for super stubborn accounts, we actually will offer accelerator clients we will try different methods for those clients, just because they're in the accelerator program, because we're trying to get them to that point. So we have different methods that we will use. Again, we talked about methods that work at scale, methods that don't work at scale. Some of these other methods that we use, they don't work at grand scales, hundreds and hundreds of clients, thousands of clients, but they might work for one person. So we're willing to try that. And a lot of my clients end up being in that position where they have one or two things to come off, and it's taken 3 to 6 months to get that one thing off. I just can't stress enough how important it is to make sure that you make your payments on time, put everything on auto pay. Late payments are a killer, man, because they're really hard to remove. And sometimes you end up having to remove the entire account, which closes your credit card. And, it's just really, really, really try to make sure that the positive credit that you do have, you keep it positive, and just be aware that the credit restoration, if you have a really bad file, it can take a long time. And that's part of the point of the accelerator, is that, accelerator, shouldn't it mean that you're speeding up the credit repair? We always go as fast as possible. When I say accelerator, I'm saying you're accelerating your mind, you're accelerating your network, you're accelerating your income, right? Because I can teach anybody with a cell phone. Like if I had enough time to work with someone one-on-one, I could teach anyone with a cell phone how to make $5,000 a month off their phone. As long as you have you're mentally and physically there, and you're sub 100, you're not sub 100 IQ or 90 IQ or something, you don't have any mental problem, with actually intelligence, I can teach any person how to make $5,000 a month with their phone. So that being said, if I can, even if I don't fix your credit in a year, but I helped you grow your network, I taught you a tremendous amount of financial literacy. I built your business credit. I built your personal credit, even though it's not fixed yet. Right. And I helped you increase your income, right? Increase your income. I taught you how to increase your income and that you should work a side job. You should be busting your ass. If you're only making $4 or $5 grand a month, you need to work more or get a new job or figure out a side hustle, right? If I did that, I feel like I've still fulfilled. So that's the best part about it is like, there's just so many ways for me to provide value in the program. And, you know, and then the credit stuff, when that finally gets cleaned, then it's just like, boom, it's just like everything just came together perfectly synergistically, you know.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And then we go into funding, and then like you're now equipped to use your funding with all this knowledge and help and expertise and network, where now you have all of this backbone. You're not just going into something blindly like a squirrel searching for a nut, man. You have a plan. You've executed on your plan. Your plan is coming to fruition. And that's really what it's all about. Every person that I get into a better position to get to their goals, to achieve their goals, their dreams, and do it as cheaply as possible, in the sense of they're not putting themselves in bad financial positions and they're doing things the right way. It's very, very important to me. It makes me feel very, very good. I feel like that's like part of my purpose. Like, so I'm very passionate about it and very connected to it. And that's why I love coaching. And that's why people should trust me and should join my program. Couple things. We talked about flexing with a purpose to a degree, right? Talked about the Instagram stuff. Be careful of people that, it's funny because I say flex with a purpose. Like if you're going to show off if you're going to show off wealth or signal wealth there, and let me like just give the audience a little knowledge bomb. Okay. 90% of people that signal wealth, it's for girls. Like, and it's for men. It's the easiest way for a man to signal his worthiness in society is to signal his wealth. Like people will say, oh, like I'm signaling my wealth to make like, you know, to inspire people. Well, yeah, you are, sure. But let's just be real. Like most people are doing it because they're signaling to like females, and that's completely fine. It's normal. But that aside, right? Flexing with a purpose, inspiring people is real, and showing people that you are legitimate is also real. Do you want to pay somebody who does credit repair in their mom's basement? Or do you want to pay somebody that lives in a 6,000 square foot house that obviously makes enough money to pay for the house, even if they rent it, right? They can pay the house, pay for the house, and they drive nice cars that they don't like rent for one weekend. This is their car, whether they lease it or buy it. Again, it doesn't matter, because someone who is broke wouldn't be able to afford any of those things anyway. Right. And as long as you're doing that for the right reasons, and I think the right reason is to get more attention to yourself and to your program and grow your business and inspire people. And as long as you are actually doing that, that to me is an ethical way to advertise. It's an ethical way to market. And at the same time, with stuff that I do, I walk a fine line with offending people based on my lifestyle. And I don't really flaunt my lifestyle like other people do on Instagram, but because it's really not glamorous, actually. Like, I live in a really nice house and I drive nice cars and whatever, but this is my lifestyle. Like literally like computers and like, you know what I mean? Like I sit in front of a computer all day. Like that's really my lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's not glamorous. And yeah, I mean, so people, if you are going to show off or signal your wealth or signal your success, make sure you're doing it with a purpose and you're inspiring people and being transparent about what you pay for things or
absolutely.
Or why you're doing what you're doing. The next thing was, people are going to ask this question. Well, or in a way, what's the number one determination of why someone's credit gets fixed faster than someone else's? I remember we talked about this. Virgin credit repair client. Now, what does that mean? It means you've never had credit repair done ever, never sent a dispute in, never disputed an inquiry, The bureaus have never seen a piece of mail or anything from you ever before in your life. If you are a virgin credit repair client, your file will get cleaned up faster at scale than anyone who's been in repair previously, which is another reason why it's very important to hire the right company the first time. Because if you hire 4, 5, 6 companies and then you come to me, guess what? Chances are potentially they've already used my method, but maybe they didn't do something that matters the right way. And that was the reason why it stayed on your report. Or the bureaus have just seen letters from you and they're just marking your stuff as frivolous because the person you hired didn't know how to do credit repair and they did it the wrong way. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I've seen people's files actually go into, it's kind of like a blacklisted special ops of credit bureaus where people's files literally, they don't get any correspondence back on their file at all, where the credit bureaus had like flagged their file. So basically, like, I've had this happen to people I know, and like they literally said I couldn't send a dispute letter for like 6 months, where they call it like credit jail or there's some division. It's not really like public, but, and listen, the other thing is too, is I want to say this. The credit bureaus break laws every single day. Like they break and I say this, I'm not exaggerating. Credit bureaus break millions of laws a day. Each bureau, they all break millions of laws a day. So like even the credit bureaus can pretty much get away with whatever they want. They're like more powerful than than a really high up politician. The credit bureaus are like kind of above the law. So you have to understand, like, they have a lot of power, man, because, and even though they're not part of the government, they are connected to the government in a very important way in regards to the economy and how money is made by banks. Right. So something to be aware of. One thing I want to talk to you about, you talked about your repo being reinserted. That's the proper way to say when an account comes off your credit and then is off for like, say, a few weeks or even longer and then gets put back on. That's called reinsertion. The reason that happens is because basically the credit bureaus, the timeline for the creditor, like the creditor is the person that you have the issue with the account with, right? The credit bureau is the credit bureau, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. The creditor didn't respond back to the credit bureau in time insofar as they had this amount of time to respond. They didn't respond in that time frame. So that was removed from your credit report legally, like it should be. Now, if they respond, the laws on this are kind of vague, but if they supposedly what Experian is saying, Experian is kind of the main one that does a lot of reinsertion. Equifax and TransUnion do it too, but not as frequently as Experian for some reason. But if something gets reinserted, it simply means that creditor then did send the subsequent information they requested, Experian or TransUnion or Equifax requested from them, and it was a valid account or whatever. They validated the account or verified the account.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with that is this. Experian and other bureaus, I believe as well, are ignoring subsequent disputes on those reinserted accounts, and they're actually not legally allowed to do that. So Experian will be getting hit with a class action lawsuit at some point in time. The other bureaus have as well. TransUnion got hit with one this year in regards to inquiries. Like they just wouldn't remove this guy's inquiries, and they were actually like identity theft, or like they were unauthorized. And this happens all the time. Like, and like the banks do this too, or like the car places do it too, where like they're going to run your credit one time and then they end up running it twice. Like that's not allowed. You can't legally do that. Right. So you have to understand we're fighting against, like, this is like David and Goliath. Like I'm David, I'm trying to help you, a little person. I'm a little person. You're a little person. I'm trying to help us fight against Goliath, which is the credit bureaus. Yeah. So please just understand that and understand the value of credit repair and how important it is in society and the way that our culture is set up and the way that our society is set up, how important having good credit is, how easy it can make your life. Even if you don't want to go get lending and leverage your credit, it makes your life a lot easier to have good credit. Okay. Yeah. But understand that because of that, it's very valuable, and then people are going to charge for that value. And that's why I made that Instagram video about how credit repair is not guaranteed, because anything that's really truly valuable can really, in essence, is harder to guarantee or cannot be guaranteed, right? Like when you go to, if you have a mental issue and you're going through a lot of trauma or grief, do you go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a doctor and say, hey, do you guarantee you're going to fix my problems?
Yeah.
No. And I'm not saying that having good credit is the same, or fixing credit is the same as helping someone go from being suicidal to not being suicidal. I'm not, but they are valuable in the same way, where if fixing credit was super simple, then it wouldn't be the industry it is, as far as it's
right.
$1 billion credit repair is $1 billion industry. It wouldn't be the industry it is. It wouldn't be, the rewards of having good credit would be lessened if it was so easy to have good credit, right? If having good credit was super easy, then it wouldn't come with all of the benefits, right? So the harder something is to have or maintain, right, generally the more reward you get from that thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I hope people understand this at like a philosophical level, and really understand that I can't guarantee I'm going to fix your credit. I really can't. I can't legally, but I also can't in reality guarantee that I can 100% fix your credit. Now, I will do everything in my power to help you fix your credit. And after a year, the contracts are written for a calendar year. If a year goes by and your credit's not fixed to an appropriate level, or a level that I believe is appropriate and that we mutually agree maybe isn't the results you were looking for, I have no problem refunding you. Again, this stuff happens. This is just reality. I'm being transparent about this because I want people to understand that this is the reality of credit repair. While you're waiting for repair, you can still be doing so many other things. And that's what I want to see. You can do so much while you're waiting for your credit to be fixed. There's so much that you can accomplish. Again, I built my business. I didn't use my credit until I was already making $10,000, $20,000 a month. So there's so much that you can be doing while you're waiting. And that's what the accelerator is in essence.
Again, Jake, I really appreciate, taking the time out of your day to sit here and talk and explain to people, and also share a background on you and a few your experience and your stories on this crazy world we call credit, rather be business and personal.
Yes, it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy. Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. I hope that we touched on some points. And again, if people in the audience like wanted more specific stuff covered or something that we missed, I guess we could have talked a little bit more about business credit. But that's kind of that can kind of be maybe potentially be its own video. Yeah. But basically, again, you got to have good personal credit to get business credit. But we could talk about some business credit places. If you do have good personal credit, some good business credit places to go to. But again, yeah, I really appreciate it, man. And hopefully we drop some good value for the viewers and obviously for my people to see as well that Absolutely. Are interested. And I'd love to be back on, man, and love to help you grow your channel too. And building that personal brand.
That's it. There you go. Exactly what we were talking about. Again, Jake, I greatly appreciate it.
All right, buddy. No doubt.
All right.
All right, that's it. I know it's very long-winded, but I hope you guys got some valuable information from it. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, hit me up by Instagram right here. Other than that, let me know what you guys thought about the video. Was it too long? Were there things that we missed? Are there questions that you still have answered, that you need answered? Let me know in the comments down below, man. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
It's modern segregation. This is setting up a civil war. Burn the circus down, cause the world is full of